program itself is an opportunity to bridge the gap. So I think some of the problems that may occur or that may possibly be occurring is communication. I think a lot of it is a communication and awareness, and so we're hoping with this program to bring some type of communication and awareness so we can eliminate any type of issues or any type of problems on both sides.
No doubt.
So
every 2 years our state legislative body meets and they make little changes to the laws here and there, so it is hard to keep up with.
No doubt.
One of the really good things about this program that we particularly enjoy is that it gives us an opportunity to build upon our positive relationship with the youth here in our town. I have a personal philosophy that a police department, a law enforcement agency, must have a positive relationship with the members of its community in order to be effective.
Absolutely.
And you can't wait for some tragedy to happen for that relationship to try to build. So you have to have that relationship before you have some tragedy or some event that brings into question whether either side, maybe somebody from the community or an officer is doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
This program is about building that positive relationship or enhancing it with the youth in the community.
if we make cool programs, then it helps get the kids involved in something cool and still able to relay the message we're trying to relay. So
That's exactly right.
And that's the hard part right now, because a lot of
Gauge the
people, when
interest.
it comes associated to any type of police department or official, is just like people don't, especially the youth, and everything that's happened over the last few years, and the emphasis on social media, it's really created a disconnect. These type of situations can help, like we talked about, bridge that gap.
Absolutely. Several years ago, we did something a little bit unique, and we created a new position for a juvenile officer. And a lot of times when kids hear that, they think that we're hiring an officer to come out and arrest them for every little thing, and for criminal mischief and being tardy to school, all the little things. But that's not what our program was designed to do. Our program was designed to help those kids that were on the fence, maybe they were beginning to head down the wrong path, and to keep them from ending up in jail as an adult. We were trying to encourage them. We would call them at risk. They're at risk for becoming an adult criminal. And this juvenile officer's number one purpose was to redirect them and get them with the assistance that they may need, act as a mentor, and provide some kind of stability in their life, and show them that the police officers are there to help.
How's it been since you've hired that position?
We have had so many positive occurrences with that juvenile officer. Just last week, I sat in on a phone call where a mother called our juvenile officer, and she was crying on the other end of the phone. She was sobbing and telling that officer, "Thank you. You've given me my daughter back."
Not everybody plays sports. I don't know that little girl's situation, but it's kind of like a father figure or a coach in life. For me, you have your family at home, but you need that person. You need that mentor outside of the household just to help you in school, principles of life, how to grow up and be the right type of role model for kids. And you have to learn it at a young age. So for me, it was Coach Hartman in high school. I still talk to him till this day. But for her, have a juvenile officer, somebody to take the time to listen to her, to be patient with her. That's what we all need. It's just unfortunate we don't get that type of attention one-on-one.
a lot of the complaints or a lot of the scrutiny where you have to reprimand some officers or where you have to stand by some officers.
Yes, sir.
How does that affect you on a daily basis?
Understand that my decisions have an impact on that employee's life, and I don't take that lightly. I make absolutely certain that we give the officers all of the support and all of the training and all of the expectations that they deserve in order to do their job, so that if they do wrong, it's not because they didn't know better, it's because they made a choice.
My biggest question would be, when you talk about discipline, and you see so many police officers today that are recorded blatantly doing wrong, and they get an absence of leave, and then eventually they come back, they get their jobs back, and it's just a redundant process. And I think especially as minorities in the community who are seeing these issues happen, you're seeing the brutality, you're seeing the excessive force, and you're seeing these officers get put on leave and come right back. what goes into that, and how can that be a big change? Because I feel like everything else is subjective. I've seen a lot of videos as of recently of men and women being killed or murdered for a simple traffic stop. And for a number of reasons, I would agree with both sides. Sometimes a police officer coming with the possibility of every interaction can be the last one of his career for his life, and then this person isn't really obeying orders. You know, it could be so simple. Keep your hands up. Let me see everything. People move around. They talk reckless. The tension increases. These are all, like I said, subjective situations. But when there is blatant excessive force, how can y'all do a better job of saying, look, this absence of leave situation, this gray area, is causing a lot of frustration in the community. Is it clear cut in certain situations, or how can y'all do a better job in that sense?
No, that's a really good
routine is it a routine for a complaint and then you put them on leave? Is that's standard?
If that complaint, just based on its own merit, without any investigation, is one that is of a serious nature, that means somebody could be in a position of danger if this officer is left on the street, you know, doing their job while you investigate it, or if there's a concern that there's continued illegal activity, then you certainly remove them and you put them on administrative leave. If it's a minor infraction or something, you may leave them on the job, or you may reassign them to some desk duty or whatnot. But as that seriousness goes up, so does the likelihood that you're going to suspend them or place them on administrative leave while there's a due process that takes place. So in some cities, some cities have different types of regulatory bodies that oversee the process within the department. Some cities are civil service, and there's an outside commission that oversees how the department operates and offers some oversight. If they're civil service, they're also granted some rights similar to that of a union. If you think of a union in the private sector, and that union represents the officer, and they are fighting on behalf of the officer, and you have a setup that's somewhat like a court. It's like a trial setting, and the officer may get accused of something, and it gets investigated, and let's say that the chief believes that yes, this officer violated policy and they need to be removed, or maybe they need an extended disciplinary action and a removal from work for 3 months or a month or whatever it may be. That officer has a right through a court-like process. It feels like you're going to a trial, to have their side heard and let what is akin to a judge. They're called a hearing examiner, but it's like a courtroom, and that person looks like they're a judge up at the front, and they hear evidence, and then that judge, not the chief, gets to decide whether that person comes back to work. So sometimes officers are returned to work even when the chief and the rest of the department does not want that officer to get their job back. They feel like they're maybe a danger to society and the community, and the process, their unionized process, can oftentimes afford them an opportunity to get their job back. Just be somebody positive. Be somebody that helps. These officers that are right here, athletes here, they want to be somebody in the community that serves and gives back. That's why Marcus is here today. He's here to show y'all that it's okay to be a role model. It's okay to be somebody that people look up to, and it's okay to give back. He's here giving back his time. Did y'all hear that? Super Bowl champion. Did y'all hear that? Who wants to be a Super Bowl champion, baby? Put your hands up if you want to be a Super Bowl champion. Look at that right there.
What does it take to get to the NFL?
It takes a couple things. Number one, I want to tell you just to surround yourself with the right people. You know what I mean? You got to have like-minded people who are trying to go where you want to go. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the exact same thing, but both people that are willing to work hard. You know what I mean? It took a lot of sacrifice for me to be where I'm at. And I had to distance myself from some people, and I had to really figure out who were my friends, who weren't my friends. So just make sure that you have a vision for yourself. How bad do you really want it? You know what I'm saying? That's going to show itself. And you can't fool anybody, you can't trick anybody, you just got to put the work in. Sometimes it's by yourself. Sometimes you have a group of people who are willing to do it with you, but you got to put it in regardless. And the last thing I want to tell y'all before we start all of this is that my dad sat down with me my sophomore year in high school. So y'all in middle school right now, y'all are getting insight to something years before I did. He sat me down and he said, look, you have to have a vision for yourself. And in order to achieve that vision, it has to start right now.
Service vehicles require power to use their equipment, requiring their engine to idle, which burns a lot of fuel, emits a lot of greenhouse gases, and requires a lot of maintenance, unless they have stealth power. Stealth power allows operation of all equipment without the engine on. The system provides power to operate all auxiliary electric loads, including lights, radio, computers, cameras, power tools, and more, and results in less fuel use, lower maintenance costs, while improving work conditions and reducing emissions. Our maintenance-free intelligent power systems recharge when the vehicle is driven via the vehicle's alternator and comes with emergency jumpstart capability so drivers are never stranded with a dead battery. The custom-designed client dashboard lets fleet managers and supervisors easily track system performance and analytics across the entire fleet or individual vehicles, sending service alert codes to notify them of vehicle problems through emails, increasing driver safety and vehicle performance. Contact Stealth Power today to learn more.